Hey allies, Cyberpunk 2077 runs fantastic on the ROG Ally locally, but what if I told you that one of these was running at 120 frames per second at only 6 watts APU? Not this version. Clearly, as you can see, it's using around 30 watts and struggling to get around 30 frames per second. So even with that turbo mode plugged in at 1080, it can be a bit of a struggle. However, thanks to the power of GeForce NOW's Ultimate tier, you can run 120 frames per second with a staggering 6 watts APU running on the silent mode and get Cyberpunk 2077 running in full Raytracing Overdrive mode. So if we put the command center down to silent, you'll see that both in the GeForce NOW overlay and also the Armory Crate overlay that this is pushing 120. In my GeForce NOW app settings, I have it set manually to auto bitrate 1080 res and 120 frames per second on the frame rate with adaptive VSync. This is the best settings overall with the standard resolution, upscaling, and also remember the settings. You can see that I have the GeForce NOW Ultimate membership here as well. They do offer a free tier and I'll come on to the pricing a little bit later. But to go over the settings, as I said, I set this to Ray Tracing Overdrive in Cyberpunk. Because GeForce NOW uses the 4080 for Cyberpunk on the Ultimate tier, you get the full benefit of DLSS 3. So you can have frame generation on and you'll need the super resolution set to quality. I also just turn off things like the chromatic aberration and film grain because I just don't like the look of them. You can see that everything else here is set to high and also path ray tracing is enabled as well. Didn't have any frame limit in the game and now you can see that this is running at 120 frames per second plus a lot of the time. It does dip down a little bit, especially when we go into the city, but this is phenomenally smooth on the ROG Ally. As I said, putting that screen at 120 frames per second and having the game running at 120 as well is just absolutely phenomenal. Obviously YouTube is capped at 60 frames per second, so you're not going to get the full benefit of this, but trust me, this is ridiculously smooth on the Ally. And you can see that the battery wattage there is under 11 watts. So you are going to get a good couple of hours at least on the battery on this one as well. In pretty much all scenarios, it does push that 120 and it feels like it's native. You would never have guessed that this was streaming over the internet. As I said, they do have a free tier, but it's limited to 1 hour sessions and you won't get the full ray tracing abilities. You can go for the priority tier, which will give you ray tracing with a maximum of 1080p and rigs up to 2080 or 3060s. Removes that queue time that you get for the free tier in most scenarios and gives you a 6-hour playtime per session. Or you can go for the ultimate tier, which is what we're running here, which will give you access to RTX 3080s, being able to save your sessions up to 4K resolution and 120 FPS. And 4080s for the available data centers. Priority starts at £9 a month and £18 a month for Ultimate on the monthly tier, but if you go to the 6 month tier, it's £45 for 6 months or £90 for 6 months on Ultimate. Absolute bargain there if you want the power of the 4080, considering the price of the XG mobile docks. GeForce NOW is a much more cost-effective way to get that power if you have a decent internet connection. If you want to check where you can get the 4080s for the Ultimate tier, you can check out status.geforcenow.com. As you can see here, pretty much all of the data centers now have 4080s available. I'll leave you with a little bit more of the gameplay here without me talking so you can get the true power of GeForce NOW on the Ally without me talking. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of the video.